the importance of never stopping to start over. If people stopped trying to start over at some point in history, we would never have any inventions whatsoever. Think about it. If James Watt just didn't have the will to think over and over again about the inefficiency of water engines, the Industrial Revolution would never have happened, and every household on the planet Earth would just be stuck with a running watermill in their backyard. But luckily, we have startups. In this day and age, they are the ones mostly responsible for never stopping to start over again.
Probably three elements we define startup. It's a young company, but I wouldn't say it's a company, 2 years old, 3 years old, or 4 years old. It will depend on but definitely it's a company that is tech-focused or utilizes technology. Most importantly, is a company that really wants to grow in a fast pace. I think that, utilizing technology, being relatively young and trying to grow exponential is kind of this, I would say, explanation we are trying to use to talk about startups.
One of the industries that's been growing quite exponentially in recent times is education. With the advent of the internet, the barriers to access information from any point all across the globe have gradually vanished. Nowadays, there are even profound conversations about whether kids should attend schools at all. The pandemic forced humanity to rethink its approach to education one more time, with all offline classes being dismissed.
We have a platform, Universe for Kids. It shows in this real organizational environment, so how science and technology is done, but also it's enhanced with augmented reality. Kids start to use the platform, they get personalized content because we used the algorithms of artificial intelligence to shape their learning process. And that's very important because that's the combination of this theoretical and practical learning, but at the same time, they perceive it as a game to some extent, which makes everything more like fun. And that's what the new generation of kids want.
If you're talking about the needs and wants of our generation, you're talking about SaaS, which is software as a service. SaaS is everywhere you look. Whether you're crunching numbers using some desktop program or you're chatting with colleagues via an app, you're still using SaaS. The same goes with all the appointments that you're making, starting with a dentist and ending with a beauty salon.
Zoya is an online booking system, so appointment booking system for all service providers whose business is based on appointment. Developed countries in Europe already have online booking systems, and this is kind of popular and already kind of normal to use. In Croatia, the service providers never heard of such solutions. They don't know they exist. They don't know even that there is that kind of option. The challenge here is just educating the service providers because they're not aware of such solutions. They're still a little bit scared of technology. So we're just trying to get as many of mostly beauty salons, hairdressers, health centers. Those will be the industries that we are focused on. We would love to try and compete with other bigger competitors that are already present in other countries in Europe.
Among the most popular appointments to make are those in healthcare. The topic of mental health in particular has significantly come to light within the last decade or two, with people being more and more outspoken about their emotional instability. Millions of patients seek psychiatric help from therapists on a daily basis.
Basically, we help therapists to gather more insights in between sessions and also help them navigate the whole process with more clarity for the patient. You use this app during therapy to better understand what happened with your mood or your problems during that time. Our second customer, so the therapist, it's more about gaining insight on what happened with my customer during the period when we haven't seen each other. Clear path from finding the problem to really getting the solution during the therapy. So clarifying what's next, what we are working now currently, and so on.
Another industry that's currently undergoing major changes is fintech. The origin of finance can be traced back to Babylon, where temples were primarily used as a safe place for storage of valuable goods, such as grain. Nowadays, most of the grain is in stocks, and everybody is focused on making as much bread as possible.
Our mission is to enable impact investing, best practices in long-term wealth management to wider audiences. We have around 10 different value-based topics based around the big ecological and societal issues that we are facing. If you invest in a public company, your money goes to a person who's selling stock, not to the company itself. Your stake 0.001% of the company won't be influential, but 100 people like you, that's another story.
The world would not be the same place without all the innovations and technological breakthroughs if it wasn't for the collective effort of many. But remember that at the very beginning, it only takes one. The one who would get curious to try, the one who would be fearless in the face of failure, the one who would look at things differently, and the one who would never stop to start over again. Just imagine all the things that could happen next.